Hello and welcome to Living Beyond Limits. I am Reverend Jennifer Spear and we are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living, and I'm so glad that you have joined us today for this online service. When we normally meet in person, one of the very first things that we do is say good morning to the people that are sitting around us. But what really happens is it turns into a love fest. It gives everybody the opportunity to experience that connection that they have with each other, for everyone's hearts to open, to share their love. And so what I invite you to do right now, even though we aren't together, is to do just that. To imagine in your mind's eye some of the people that you sit near on a Sunday morning, or if you don't attend our services, to think of some of the people that you love and that you care about. And just to imagine right now that you are sending them your love. Wrapping them in that energy of love and seeing them really in their own wholeness and in their own authentic power. How they are supported by life. And to recognize that as you are doing that, you are actually sending them a blessing. Because really, it's all energy and it's all connected. And to recognize also that as someone watches this video, that they are probably doing the same thing for you. Sending you their love and seeing you in your own wholeness and your own authentic power. And how wonderful it is to get to participate in blessing each other. And so as we begin our service this morning, I'm going to invite our practitioner, Barbara Conant, to come forward. She's going to do an invocation and a contemplative reading for us. Actually, an evocation as we begin to evoke an awareness of the presence of Spirit that is already here. We're not invoking God because God is always present. We're just evoking our awareness of that. And so I invite you to just kind of begin to settle into yourself, letting go of this day and what all has gone on, and to just be present in yourself, present in this moment, and to just kind of let go.
I invite you to join me in our evocation of Spirit. And I move my mind into the stillness. I withdraw my thoughts and go deep into the silent recesses of my being to a place of peace. And as the world retreats from my mind, I enter into a greater appreciation for the oneness of life that is all around me. I fill my heart with Spirit's goodness, and I know its presence is always right where I am. I also know this life of Spirit is here as living beyond limits. The source of all guides and directs me, and I draw upon its perfect peace, its divine love and light, which bring my feelings of oneness into the experience of this moment. I accept all the good that God is and all that it presents to me and through me. I feel blessed to be its expression in my world. I know that all I have said is true for everyone because we are all in this one life of God. And so today, I give thanks for this good that moves through all time and space, opening people's hearts to Reverend Jennifer's talk, which inspire and lift people's minds and hearts to the creative intelligence which blesses their lives and those around them. I bless our time together, and I say thank you, Spirit, for the blessings received today. And so it is. Hello. My reading today is from 365 Days of Richer Living by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker. It's from a reading entitled, I Fulfill My Destiny Now, and it goes like this. I know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that God supports me in every right action. I feel the sustaining power of Spirit flowing through me because I am an outlet for the perfect action of a perfect mind. I have a purpose in living. I was created to be a witness to the truth, and I fulfill my destiny now. I am aware of God within me, aware of God around me, and I do those things which are constructive and valuable. My world reacts to my consciousness, and truth appears all around me. My destiny is to be a creative person in the universe, which responds to my thought. And as a result of my conscious deliberations, new and greater forms of good should and do appear. My right thinking produces experiences that lift and heal my fellow man. This I do, for it is for me to be a bringer of good tidings, peace, and great joy. I delight in the magnificence of the universe. I am glad that Spirit's mind fashioned me out of its own substance. I realize that I must live in accordance with God and its perfect law of mind action. I do this, for it is the only permanent way of peace and true accomplishment. And so it is.
Thank you, Barbara. And so I'd like to share with you right now Living Beyond Limits mission statement. And so if you know it, I invite you to join me in saying it. And if you don't, I just invite you to take it in. It says, we are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. And what that really means is, as we awaken to the fact that that presence of the Infinite One abides within us, that it is a core part of our beingness, that then we don't need to rely on the world to give us things like peace and love. Sure, it's nice, but we know that if the world is not reflecting that to us, that we actually have that within us. And when the world is not looking peaceful, or loving, then we can access that peace and love within ourselves and bring it forward and bring it into the world, in our actions and in our thoughts and in our words, in our conversations. And as we do that, we actually act as a healing presence and a beneficial presence in this world. And so I thank each and every one of you for answering the call of your own spirit to be walking this path, to be bringing that divine presence into this world in a way that is beneficial. Thank you so much for that. And so Monday is Martin Luther King Day, and it is a day that is celebrated in recognition of all that Martin Luther King Jr. contributed to the civil rights movement, the incredible accomplishment and what he brought to this world to move us forward in having civil rights for everyone. And so with Martin Luther King Day, we also begin the season for nonviolence. And it is a time that is celebrated from Martin Luther King's birthday until the anniversary of the death of Mahatma Gandhi. It is a yearly event that celebrates the lives and the philosophies of these two men. These two men who sought to create an equitable and a just world through the practice of nonviolent actions. And so the season for nonviolence teaches that every single person in this world, that every single one of us can move this world forward into a place of peace, can move us forward in the direction of peace through nonviolent actions and nonviolent choices on a daily basis. And so, in honor of the season for nonviolence, I light this candle this morning. And so here we find ourselves this week, 1 week after a violent attack on the U.S. Capitol and threats of violence and threats of violent protests and armed protests in every single one of the states in this country this week. And people are angry, and people feel very confused by it all, and many people feel afraid about it. I heard a woman this week who actually stood in line for 4 hours one day to buy a gun because she's afraid that we're going to have a civil war in this country. And we have a president who was impeached this week for the second time, and there are people who are happy about that, and there are people that are unhappy about that, and there are many, many people who are heart sick that this is where we are in our country right now. And so what do we do as religious scientists? What do we do as people who are dedicated to living a spiritual life and to walking a spiritual path? I know that what each one of us really wants is we want to feel safe. We want to be safe, and we want to know that we're safe. We want to find solutions to the polarization that is happening in our country. We want to find solutions to heal the schisms that are happening. We want to find solutions to the things that aren't working, and we want to find a way forward. And we want to do all of that in unity and with care and without violence. Martin Luther King said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." And yet sometimes when we feel afraid for our own safety, or when we feel afraid for our country and worried, it's hard to be the light. Because what we want to do is we just want to protect ourselves. And when we're afraid, It can feel like it's hard to love, even though that's what Martin Luther King was calling for. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And so I think that we begin, and I would like to begin today, by just addressing that, addressing our fear and addressing the need to be and to feel safe. The first thing I think that we need to know is that when we feel afraid, that to recognize that that fear and what it's all about is almost entirely in our minds. That fear comes from a story that we are fabricating about what might happen or what could happen. And most often, those stories that we have in our mind are really the worst case scenarios. And as we entertain those worst case scenarios, they create angst inside of us. And they create fear, and they create worry, and they create stomach problems, and we have a difficult time sleeping then, and we participate in things that aren't very good for us, like too much food or too much alcohol or playing video games for too many hours or buying too many things, all as a way to numb ourselves so that we don't have to feel that angst and that fear and that worry. And so Ernest Holmes said, everyone is looking for security. And often we think that security includes having the money that we need to pay the bills. Well, it certainly does include that. But there's a deeper security than that. A security that comes only through a deep and abiding faith in life. A deep and abiding faith in ourselves. And a deep and abiding faith in God. There is no permanent healing of anything in life without the restoration of faith. There is no gratification or feeling of safety without faith. And so we can worry and we can fret about what might happen, or we can have faith. We can have faith in ourselves and faith in humanity and faith in God. That God that is within us, that God that is within everything, and that is expressing itself in and through everyone and everything. Ernest Holmes also said in the Science of Mind textbook, just so far as we depend upon any condition, past, present, or future, we are creating chaos. Because we are then dealing with conditions or effects and not with causes. Could we but comprehend the fact that there is a power that makes things directly out of itself by simply becoming the thing it makes, and realize that we are dealing with a presence that is eternally present, we could accomplish whatever it is possible for us to conceive. Life externalizes at the level of our thought. Life externalizes at the level of our thought. And so we can keep our attention on what is not working, or we can look at what is not working as a jumping off point to create what it is that we do want, to create the country that we do want. And the second thing about that fear and about feeling safe is that we can know that we are safe all of the time because we are eternal. We are eternal beings made of God stuff. And that very essence of our being, nothing can touch it. Nothing can desecrate it. Nothing can injure it or harm it or annihilate it. It's eternal. Who you are is an eternal being. And that is safe all of the time. We can also know that we are safe because we live in God. And that presence of God, that infinite love intelligence of the universe, guides us and directs us and leads us in making choices and decisions so that we are safe. We just need to listen within, and we will always be safe. So we can listen to the thoughts of our ego and the thoughts of our fear, or we can pursue what it is that our spirit wants. And we can allow that to move us forward to what we want this world to be like. And so I was on a Zoom conference this week with an organization called Braver Angels. And they were originally called Better Angels. And that term Better Angels comes from Abraham Lincoln's inaugural address. He was talking about, as a way to bring unity to our country, he appealed to our, quote, better angels. And what that means is that under certain conditions, we should go beyond what comes easily or what comes naturally. And so Braver Angels changed their name. They are calling for our better angels. But they changed their name because it requires such courage and such bravery. Because what they are doing is they have created an organization that is, their purpose is for people to be able to talk and to listen and to understand people that are on the other side of the aisle. It is really set up as a place to bring reds and blues and independents together so that they can understand the perspective of the other person and where they're coming from. Their purpose is to create dialogue for religious and for political and for ethnic reasons. Mostly it's about political, but it includes all of that. Seeing the perspective and understanding the other. And their organization is not set up so that anyone can convince or sway the other side. It's just so that we can come together. It's so that we can reduce the vitriol in this country. Their intention is to depolarize America. Their intention is to create civility and empathy and goodwill. And so on this Zoom conference that I was on, there were 4,000 people on this. And that's not even all the people that belong to the organization. I was so amazed that there were that many people. I thought there might be a few hundred. But what the reason that I tell you that is because I don't want you to think that you are alone in wanting to create a world that is based in goodwill, a world of unity and of understanding and of care and of coming together. And Braver Angels goes across the entire country, all sorts of cities, bringing people together to have those discussions. And so while COVID is happening, they are doing that online. What I also learned this week is that there is actually a caucus in Congress that is called the Problem Solvers Caucus. And it is made up of Democrats and Republicans who are committed to finding common ground and who are committed to moving through the gridlock with bipartisan solutions. Both of those organizations are being part of the solution. And we are being called to be part of the solution. Ernest Holmes said, "It is better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. The darkness in our life is dissolved when we light the candle of understanding, forgiveness, love, and truth. Darkness has no power over light, but light does have power over darkness. Hate has no power over love, but love can dissipate hate. Fear cannot destroy faith, but faith can annihilate fear. Our faith annihilates our fear. And so as members of Center for Spiritual Living, we don't go to confession. What we do instead is we look in the mirror. And we look in the mirror and we ask ourselves, how am I being part of the solution? We look at ourselves and ask, how am I being part of the problem? Is there some way that I am creating divisiveness or being divisive? Is there some way that I am discounting of other people? And we take personal responsibility for our actions and what we are contributing to this world. And so Braver Angels invites us to what they call humility and humanity. Humanity and humility. And that means seeing the humanity that is underneath the different perspectives. And it means also having humility when we come together, recognizing that we don't have all of the answers and we don't know everything. So it's coming with openness and with curiosity and with a willingness. We are also being called to have faith in ourselves, to have faith in humanity, and to having faith in God. That infinite love intelligence that is in everyone, that is in everything. And the Bible tells us that faith without works is dead. And so we can fan the flames of our faith by remembering that God is at the center of everything and at the center of everyone. We can fan the flames of our faith by remembering that there is a presence that expresses itself as truth, a presence that expresses itself as wholeness and as good everywhere, that it expresses itself as guidance and as wisdom and as safety. We can remind ourselves that the greatest power that there is the power of love, and that love overcomes and transmutes everything that is unlike itself. And then to know that in order to get to where we want to be, that place of unity, that place of peace, that place of inclusion, that place of oneness, that we have to then be that place of unity and that place of peace and that place of goodness and that place of oneness, because it starts with us. And we have faith in ourselves and faith in humanity and faith in God. You know, when I think I forgot that this week, that I can have faith in humanity. And when I think about it, I absolutely can have faith in humanity. Because the people that are creating the trouble are the people that are on the very, very, very thin outside fringe. I can have faith in myself, and I can have faith in humanity, and I have faith in God. And so we can act in ways that look like we have already arrived at the goal. And think about that for a second. If we have already arrived at the goal of unity and of peace and of oneness and of working together and being cohesive, how would you be acting in the world? Might you come to people with a more open heart? Might you come to people with actually a desire to understand what's real for them? Might you come to the world seeing their humanity before you even saw anything else? And might you come to the world seeing others as God sees them, in their wholeness, and as part of this family of humanity? And so I have a couple of questions to ask you. And so I invite you to get a pencil and a paper, a pen and a paper, and you can pause this if you need to go and get one and come back. And so I invite you just to close your eyes for a moment and to ask yourself, how can I take good care of myself during this time in history? During these times that seem chaotic, how can I take good care of myself? And to close your eyes again and to ask yourself, that highest self, your own divine beingness, how am I being called to be part of the solution? How am I being called to be part of the solution? How can I be a part of the solution? How can I be a part of the solution? And this is the part where we look in the mirror. And you can still do that by closing your eyes. And to ask yourself, is there somewhere that I am adding to the divisiveness? Is there some place that I am adding, somehow that I am adding to the divisiveness? And the last question is, how can I be part of moving from where we are to where I want us to be? How can I be a part of moving us from where we are to where I want us to be? And so my invitation to you this week is to fan the flames of your faith. Your faith that God is in all of it. Your faith that God is in every single person. Your faith that God is present and active and expressing itself in every single decision. Fan the flames of your faith in yourself and in humanity. And know that you are safe. That you are safe because you are guided and that you are led, so that you will always be in a place of safety, that you will always know what to do and when to do it and what not to do. And pray for our country, for a coming together of the people. Pray for unity and for care and for wisdom. And do your spiritual practice so that you can find your center, and that you may then come from your center to the world, and you can come from a place of peace, because you will have discovered that peace is an inside job. That peace is always right where you are, because peace is within you. So that you might discover through your spiritual practice a sense of being anchored in your own divine well-being. And see the humanity behind the opinions and behind the perspective. And stand for peace. And as we do that, we will be part of creating these United States of America that we want to live in. This America of our desires. And so blessings to you on this path where everything is a part of your spiritual path. Blessings to you on this path of awakening to your own power and your own peace and your own goodness. Blessings be upon you during this week. Thank you. And so I invite you to join me in an affirmative prayer. And so how good it is to be in this place of recognition that yes, indeed, this presence of the Infinite One is right here, right now. And that it is wrapping itself right now around me and around you as a presence of peace. That it is wrapping itself around us as the truth that all is well, right where we are. How good it is to recognize that this presence of the Infinite One lives within every single person in this country. And what I know right now is that that presence is revealing itself within the minds and the hearts and the intuition of every single person. That it is expressing itself as divine right action. that there is a peace and a coming together and a unity that is being birthed through this, a coming together as we, the people of these United States. That there is something unfolding itself that is healing and that is unifying and that holds within itself a greater good for everyone. And so today we act as participants in this unfolding vision. We act as our participants in this presence of good that is seeking to unfold itself through us and through everything. And so I call forward and fan the flames of my faith in myself and in humanity and in God, knowing that as I do that, it activates that faith and it changes the way things unfold around me. For we are cause of the experience and cause to what is going on in the world. And how grateful I am to have these tools to know that I can change my thinking and therefore change my life and have an effect on this world. And so I just lean into my faith and I lean into God, knowing that God is unfolding through all of it as perfection and as good. And I claim again, knowing that we are each guided and led, that we are safe and we are secure in God, that our families and our loved ones are safe and secure in God, and that good is happening, even now. And so I release this prayer into that infinite law of the universe, knowing that it is unfolding itself even now. And so I release this prayer with absolute faith and trust. And I say, thank you, God. And so it is. And so I have a couple of invitations for you. And one is to join us on our Thursday evening Zoom call, where we do spiritual practice together and answer some questions like those ones we just answered here. Those were questions we talked about on the Zoom call, and get an opportunity to share our ideas with each other and to be in that space of open-hearted connection and love and support. If you are not already on our mailing list, I invite you to email us at livingbeyondlimitscsl@gmail.com, and we will get you on that mailing list so that you can get the link to the Zoom and to the other things that we're doing. We have ongoing ministry of prayer. We would love to support you in prayer. If you have a prayer request, would you contact Barbara Conant via email or phone or text, or email Living Beyond Limits, and we will make sure that that gets put out to the practitioners and to me, the minister, and we will hold you in the next week in prayer, knowing your highest good. We also have prayer shawls. If you would like to be wrapped in that energy of prayer, the practitioners are happy to pray over that prayer shawl for whatever specific desire you are holding, and you can gift that prayer shawl to yourself or to another person and be wrapped in that energy of prayer. So we invite you to take that if that works for you. Also, we invite you to join our YouTube channel, which gives you a one-click to all of our videos and archives. I also invite you to share this talk if you know of somebody who would benefit from hearing this message at this time. Share it on Facebook, can create a link, tell your friends about it, send them to our website. It's right at the top of the website. And last, thank you. I want to thank you so much for your ongoing support of Living Beyond Limits. And it is allowing us to continue to function and thrive and do good in this world and be here as that support and as that buoy that we all need during this time. And so blessings to you this week, and I look forward to seeing you back here next week and maybe even on Zoom on Thursday. Have a great week. Bye-bye.